Okay, everyone. Hello there. Goodness gracious. Okay. All right. One second. There we are. Boop. Beep. Wow. Okay. Now I can go do my other stuff. Now I can go do the stuff that I need to go do. Bam, bam, bam. Bird, bird, bird. Bird is the word. Bird, bird, bird. Other stuff. Now I can. It's Saturday, everyone. It's the day that everyone comes together and makes me watch these videos. Yeah, get disintegrated, Laundryman. We're gonna try and get through as many of the recommended videos as possible, because otherwise, I don't know, it'll just kind of keep piling on top of each other. Yeah, there we are. Beep boop. Hello there. I'm not even gonna try and pronounce your name, but hello there. No, I'm not. I have a whole list of things I need to react to. So, all y'all, like, drop your recommendations in that. Which, by the way, you need to join the Discord if you haven't already. Boop beep. Ooh ee ooh ah ting tang walla walla bing bang. Ooh ee ooh ah ting tang walla walla bing bang. Okay, there we are. Boop beep bop. Boop beep bop. No, fuck Smash Bracket. I hate Smash Bracket. Dumbass boy doesn't know how to power scale. Okay. Yeah, that should be it. Yeah, okay, there we are. Boop, beep, boop, up, up. Alright, I need the Discord open to access to the fucking recommendations. Okay. 1 second, this will only take... I don't know, this will take however long it takes. Beep. Okay, so the first video that we were supposed to react to, and it kind of got cut off because, you know, things. But yeah, okay, so boop, there you are. Okay, so this is Luffy versus Invincible is not close from Sage, or maybe it's supposed to be saggy, but I very much doubt that. Bink bump, boop boop boop. Ah crap! How do you press buttons?
Some heroes are defined by their strength.
We're gonna. There we are. Boop.
Others by their heart. But these two, they're defined by how many...
Nobody cares. No. I don't know, dog. Sit in line like everyone else does.
Has been crushed, poisoned, and...
Nobody cares. Okay, that's a little mean, but to be fair, like, this is a lot of introduction that I don't really care about.
The reason I want to go over Luffy's strength scaling first is...
This is where we left off last time we did a reaction stream, so yeah. This will be a good little, starting off point. Death Battle should do Sukuna versus Muzan. Why? Why would you set Muzan up like that? He is losing that so bad. Like Sukuna versus Dio is my personal, like that's the one I want them to do, but that's a different story.
So that I can completely dispel the notion that One Piece characters are even remotely planetary by debunking two main metas.
Oh yeah, this is when I said that he was undeniably based. Markable, very funny. My opinions on Sage, or actually no, fuck it, we'll call him that, Sage, because it's funny. My opinions on him are completely nothing right now. I have never seen this man before in my life. Aside from his Yamcha Solo's Invincible video, I remember seeing that thumbnail when it came out, but other than that, I have never seen this man in my life. So whether or not this guy is good at power scaling or not is not really up for discussion. However, because he is a smaller content creator and it's our responsibility to support these smaller creators, then I absolutely had to subscribe. Damn. Okay, but let's...
With the first one I want to cover being the Whitebeard scale.
Oh yeah, I remember saying this was undeniably based. I don't scale Fortnite for the same reason I don't scale any of the other things I don't scale. It's boring. There's way too much information to take into account for someone who's just trying to scale it casually. I don't scale Fortnite anywhere. Fortnite's for babies. Yeah. I don't know, like, if it's canon, I guess. But, like, let's be honest here. That episode was kind of chopped anyway.
As most of you may already know, Whitebeard, through the use of the Quake fruit, is
Yeah, we already know this.
Though, is that due to the fact that Whitebeard's ability is earthquake-based, he quite literally cannot destroy a planet in its core.
That is some science jargon, but, like, let's be real here. This is actually so based. Hello there, Mr. Dio. Scale Dexter Morgan. He's a big guy, I guess. He can overpower smaller guys. I don't know. He's probably like a normal guy level, superhuman level, I suppose, maybe. He can run kind of fast. He has reaction speed. Oh yeah, Fortnite scales to Marvel or whatever, so I guess extraversal. I don't use extraversal though because it's lame.
This likely means that at best Whitebeard can destroy the surface of a planet by sinking islands with tsunamis, which wouldn't get him or any other One Piece character anywhere near planetary.
That is so based. Fuck One Piece fans. Multi-continental Luffy for the win. Ah, goodness, maybe this guy's my new best friend.
Even if you think the One Piece planet is the size of a star. Mind you, the size of the One Piece planet is never stated anywhere in the manga, and is entirely based on fan calculations that vary widely, making them...
There is no consistent meta. I brought this up in my Raditz video, but there is no consistent meta. Bro, I don't watch fucking Dexter, dog. Like, I watched, like, 3 episodes of it. It was fine. Like, it was okay. But, like, it's just another serial killer drama, dog. Like there's a million of these. Like, there's nothing unique about it. It's being kept alive through, like, 40-year-old moms. Like, I'm willing to guarantee it. I don't... There we are. That would have been very cringe if that had killed the stream. But thankfully, we survived. Maybe thankfully. I don't know. It's entirely up to you, but...
Genuinely question if people who believe Qinjiao is continental level for splitting the ice continent even understand basic power scaling. Since by their logic, if I chop a concrete brick in half, then that definitely means I destroyed the entire brick and scale directly to that level.
Damn. That is so based. Fuck yeah. I love depriving One Piece fans of their fucking scaling. And there's nothing that makes me happier than seeing a One Piece fan trip over themselves trying to scale Luffy any higher than continental, multi-continental. It is very funny, and I have a blast every single time. I know there's some calcs that get Luffy up to like moon level, which is fair, you know. You do you. You sound more depressed than normal for some reason. A little bit. In truth, I didn't want to do a reaction stream today. This is what I wanted to do. I wanted to do a debate stream, and this would be the thumbnail. But then I was like, no, because of fucking there's not going to be enough people on the stream to do a debate stream, so I'll just wait until I do my debate with Jimbo. Whenever we do it, because for some reason Man has been ducking. I honestly believe he's just trying to avoid the debate entirely. This one. You know how I keep saying Sukuna versus Madara? Like, we did a stream on that. Like, I think that was the last stream we did. Or, no, a couple streams ago, but... Naruto fans or One Piece fans? Damn. Let's see. Okay, so Naruto fans are fine. Well, no, they're not actually. Not even close. I hate Naruto fans, but well, I don't hate them, but most Naruto scaling is okay. Naruto fans usually rely on downplaying other verses. That's kind of where they reside. The issue with the Madara fans, you know, Madara fans excluded because Madara fans are fucking insane. Madara fans think that Madara is like fourth dimensional. Someone cooked up a high outer scan. I've banished them to Brazil. They will never cook again. But yeah, this is the thumbnail for the Sukuna versus Madara debate. Whenever that happens, it hopefully happens soon. I'd prefer for it to happen on like Monday or something, but fucking it entirely depends on what Jimbo says. No. Anyway, yeah. Back to the reaction submissions, though. Bink. Not that one. Bonk. Bonk.
You see how illogical and dumb that sounds? Because in reality, what Shinjao did was simply find a weak spot in the ice continent, which he was able to take advantage of in order to split the entire thing in half. Something that at best can be calced around mountain level if we assume...
Oof. That's fun. That's funny. I have fun. Yeah, fucking One Piece fans are the fucking worst, dog. Like, it gets so much worse when you go onto Twitter. That's where most One Piece fans kind of stew in their own brain rot. I remember there was this one tweet by a One Piece fan the other day where they kind of lost their fucking mind, and I don't know what that was, but they kind of lost their mind. And, what's this? What's this? Okay, that's a whole lot of nothing, but... there was a One Piece fan, can't remember what it was, but he basically tweeted out that Oda knows how to draw real women. So based. Yeah. Yeah, we can all agree Aizen over Madara, right? Yeah. But actually, there's this big One Piece kind of bot account where they were basically like, Metal Solid Gear. What the fuck? Okay, whatever. They were basically like, Oda knows how to draw real women, and basically made fun of all the. I don't need to go too into detail because it's just fucking gross. But at the same time, like let's be realistic here. Uh, Oda does not know how to draw women. Brazil is not awesome. You should feel bad about it.
The ice continent is about as large as Antarctica, which in and of itself is a baseless assumption that can't even be proven. Also, before anyone in my comment section cries about how I didn't even know that everything in One
Ew, AI, gross.
Piece is way bigger than in real life because Alabasta is as large as Australia, please be aware that this assumption doesn't really hold up, as Alabasta is a clear outlier when it comes to the size of islands in the verse. Since despite Alabasta being comparable to a continent like Australia in size, most other islands in the series like Drum Island, Skypea, or even Dressrosa are small enough to be crossed on foot in a day or two, and characters frequently travel the island without any kind of extended time or effort that would suggest continental landmass. In truth, One Piece uses stylized world building where island sizes shift to fit the story, not consistent geography. So while Alabasta might be unusually large, using it as a baseline to claim that most islands are continent size just isn't supported by the actual narrative.
Yeah, that is that Alabasta? That might low-key be Alabasta based on the map they showed. And then all this other stuff is way smaller than that, so... Not to mention, Australia ain't even that big on the actual Earth. Fucking... Tatsuki Fujimoto is the best at drawing women. Yes. So based. Might do an Aizen versus Madara death battle debunk if I ever fucking get around
And
to
is a
it.
blatant example of a false cause fallacy.
You presume that a real or perceived relationship between things means that one is the cause or the other. I'm not nearly smart enough to understand what that means, but hell yeah.
More than that, though, this form of scaling is genuinely just a pathetic attempt to take statements out of context so that idiots can try to scale their favorite One Piece characters as high as possible, despite there being actual high-level feats in the series like Yonko being able to perform sky splits with a single blow, which are consistently calced at large country level.
Country level Kaido, let's go! Kaido versus Sukuna is closer than you think. Sukuna doesn't need to rely on his fucking hacks abilities. He just beats the shit out of Kaido. No, I'm joking. That's star level Invincible. That's just kind of what happens if you take Tech Jacket into account. Not everyone does, but that is just kind of like objective.
With this level of power being far more in line with the best display of strength we've seen in the series so far, which is funnily enough Gear 5 Luffy's Bajrin gun. A fist so large and fast that it would have to be netting upwards of continental levels of energy, giving us a clear large country to continental range of power for Luffy.
Okay, no, that's a little lower than most people have him. Like, I think even Versus Battle has him at... Let's check this out. No, fuck. Okay, whatever. Fucking Emperor, whatever. Yeah, I think even this has him at... Oh, fuck! Okay, he got massive... Oh, wait, no. Okay, hold on. End of vision. Okay, yeah, so up to small planet level with Conqueror's Hockey Infusion. Fuck off. No one cares. But yeah. Even Versus Battle has him at small planet level, which I think is undeserved, but, you know. One Piece fans be One Piecing, and I can only assume that they give Luffy the benefit of the doubt here. Because I should mention they had King Piccolo at city level for a very long time.
In terms of raw strength. With that said, Luffy isn't just reliant on straight power, as he has a decent bag of abilities he can leverage in any given fight. The most notable of which being his rubber body granted to him by the Nika fruit, which essentially...
There's this... Another thing is that due to Luffy's rubber body, blunt force damage is nearly impossible unless you have hockey. Wrong. But that's a different story.
Allows him to fight in any way he can imagine via rubberizing whatever he touches. Subsequently allowing for Luffy to pull off Toon Force-like feats such as bouncing off solid surfaces like their trampolines, pulling items
like. Toon Force like. I swear to God, people always say Luffy has Toon Force and fucking... They be wild. People wank Saitama versus Goku, even making false statements for Saitama. Yeah, exactly. All of those are false claims that cannot be backed up. It's very obvious in my opinion.
Out of thin air, and even turning his opponents into literal pizzas by flattening them with just his bare hands. Unfortunately, though, as busted as these abilities are, they don't automatically make him unbeatable like a lot of people will claim, which should have
So based. This guy's a One Piece fan too. This guy's like a One Piece scaler, like low key. I think that's his main niche, like Kaido versus Battle Beast. Oh, maybe I have seen some of his videos. Don't remember what happened to that one though. But yeah, all of these are like One Piece based, except for that one and that one. I mean, no one watched that one, but no, that's mean. Might do that one eventually. Not now, but eventually. But yeah, so this guy is like coming in. Like honestly, I think he's like I think I'm more generous to One Piece than this guy is. But let's see where he had.
been more than obvious considering Luffy
Let's see where he goes with this.
can still be damaged and harmed by people in his own verse despite being in Gear 5, especially when he runs out of stamina, which is a huge Achilles heel to the form as a whole. Aside from his devil fruit though, Luffy is one of the few characters in One Piece
I don't watch or read mid. Can anyone verify if the stamina issue is still a thing in One Piece? Because Loki, that would be really funny. Facebook had people carries more weight than Goku, even though this lifting strength and Araki. Who is Araki? Are you trying to say Akira? Because his name is Akira Toriyama, not just Akira. Fucking some people.
to master all three forms of Haki and their advanced variants. These variants grant Luffy notable abilities like internal destruction through the use of advanced armament and Conqueror's Haki, allowing for Luffy to negate opponents' conventional durability, while also allowing him to
Okay, that is a little cool. Fair enough, but
harm opponents without even needing to make physical contact with them. As for Luffy's last form of Haki, Observation Haki, this variant grants Luffy one of the most broken kinds of precognition in manga, Future Sight. An ability so self-explanatory that I really don't need to elaborate too much, because it obviously lets Luffy see several seconds ahead into the future.
that's not that broken. Like even Aki from Chainsaw Man has that ability. Honestly, I think Goku has better precog in his base form.
Though I will say there are some nuances to this ability that people tend to overlook, such as Luffy only really using it in close fights and not passively like some fans will have you assume, as well as the fact that it can be bypassed by a character if he's fast enough to blitz you, but even then I don't think these two factors diminish the ability's effectiveness too much. Speaking of blitzing though, I think it's a good time to transition into speed, which is arguably the most contentious topic when it comes to Luffy scaling. This is because there's several instances in the series involving characters reacting to and avoiding laser fire as early as pre-time skip, including Luffy himself who blatantly dodges light speed blast from a pacifist at the beginning of post-time skip. Now, I've said it a million times and I'll say it again, dodging a light speed projectile does not mean you can throw a punch or fight at light speed. For example, just because someone can avoid a dodgeball being thrown at them at 50 miles per hour does not necessarily mean that person can then get into an MMA match and start throwing punches at the same speed as the dodgeball. This is
Boring. Don't care. No, that's mean. Okay, but anyway.
because engaging in combat not only requires reaction timing, but also acceleration, precision, and follow-up movements, all of which can vary widely compared to pure reaction speed, completely debunking the notion that Luffy is able to fight at FTL speeds during his return to Sabaody, despite him calling light beam slow. From here, though, people will usually try to bring up other horrible skills like Luffy supposedly being blitzed by Dofi or Katakuri and the
Damn, he's like depriving One Piece of everything, dog. Like I don't think this guy's giving him anything. Like low key, it's getting to a point where it's like, okay, maybe we should calm down for a second. Maybe we should. I mean, all for One Piece downplay, absolutely, but like
respective fights, which should make them faster than Luffy's reactions. However, not only is the scaling like a literal definition of calc stacking, but it's just blatantly not true, since if you've read through both fights, even base Luffy is able to keep up with and reacts to Dofi and Katakuri's attacks. So for people to just claim Luffy is getting blitzed over and over, thereby making his opponents FTL, you are just flat out lying and can't actually provide scans of a blitz taking place. Something else I haven't mentioned yet is this absurd idea that Luffy's gears are some sort of static Super Saiyan-esque multiplier, which people use to infinitely scale his speed upwards. Once again though, this is your classic case of calc stacking, and is a method that can be
is
used
calc stacking bad? It is that? Hold on, let me look into this. Because I was low key thinking calc stacking is like fine. Calc stacking refers to the practice of using results from one calculation in order to calculate other feats. Fuck off. Usually calc stacking is believed to be flawed, so that calculations that use it should be disregarded almost always. Damn. Okay. Okay, fair enough. Note to self.
used to get literally any versus speed in the MFTL tier, which is why it's a commonly frowned upon practice in the versus
Why are we so far into the video and we're still talking about Luffy? Bro, he spends like 5 minutes talking about Mark.
battle community. Moreover, the biggest problem with assuming that gears are multipliers is how many inconsistencies would arise if these speculative multipliers were to actually be real. What do I mean by this, though? Well, basically, if Luffy were to be getting 30 to 50 times faster and stronger when going from base to gear 4, then that would mean any character he was fighting would have to have been holding back to an insane degree, which maybe you could argue when it comes to AP and speed. However, when it comes to a character's intrinsic durability in One Piece, we know it's physically impossible to decrease how much force you can withstand unless you decide to shield yourself with Haki, which...
I kind of ignore that whenever I'm talking about Goku, because we have like blatant 50 times multipliers for Super Saiyan, so... But, you know, I suppose. If we want to do that thing where it's like, this only applies to Luffy, like, don't touch Goku. If this only applies to Luffy, that's fine.
Which characters like Kaido have never done. This is extremely important because we see that even base Luffy was able to make hybrid Kaido dodge his attacks and is stated to be strong enough to harm him. However, this should be physically impossible considering this is the same Kaido that was able to take hits from Gear 4 Luffy, who a lot of people say is 30 times stronger and faster than in base. This means that realistically, base Luffy's fist should literally explode on impact from even touching Kaido pre-Gear 4, but obviously that's not the case. Now, do you think that's because Kaido can magically manipulate his durability, which is never implied, or do you finally understand that such massive theoretical increases through calc stacking would leave massive holes in the actual inverse scaling of the series? But
okay, so he's a little smug about it, but man is kind of spitting, damn. Unbelievably based for no reason.
with my point being made, some of you may be wondering how fast I think Luffy actually is. And while I just mentioned how I don't consider calc stacking off a character's reaction speed as a viable method for scaling combat speed, when it comes to the case of Kaido, he is canonically shown and stated to be faster than light. Since unlike every other opponent Luffy had up to that point during post-time skip, Kaido was truly able to blitz the Straw Hat Captain. So much so that Luffy was quite literally calling him fast.
The first, like, Kaido came in like 1,000 chapters into the manga. Like, are we sure? Are we for real? Like, I don't... Maybe this guy's being too mean to One Piece. Like even I don't agree with this kind of stuff, dog. Like, I mean, I guess if you wanted to argue that they didn't get that much faster, that would be actually somewhat consistent. I suppose. This is weird. I don't know how to feel about this.
Despite using Future Sight and calling Light slow way earlier in the series. This is important because later on, after unlocking Advanced Conqueror's Haki, Luffy would grow in strength and speed so much that he was able to go toe-to-toe with not just base Kaido, but hybrid Kaido, who was much stronger and faster than in base. Leaving no doubt that Luffy should be able to fight well beyond the speed of light, and I don't think you really need to quantify to what degree unless we actually get some FTL feats in the series, but I think a good baseline would be right around 9 times if you want to use pixel scaling.
Even Death Battle had him at like 13 times faster than Light. That's crazy. I mean, fair, but like I don't know if I stand by this. I don't know if I stand by this level of downplay.
Now that I've finished scaling Luffy, though, we can finally switch characters and start discussing.
There is, I want to say, like 5 minutes left where he could reasonably scale Mark.
It's an Invincible scaling, which is just as a contentious cesspool as One Piece's scaling. Starting off with strength, things are pretty split down the middle in terms of how strong the high tiers of the verse are, with one side swearing that Invincible characters are easily star level if you use the Solar Disc meta and relativistic kinetic energy calcs, while the other side is pretty adamant that no Invincible character should be above planetary.
Sun Disc feat sucks, by the way. No Sun Disc?
Now for me, I really don't understand why this is even a question. First of all, when it comes to the solar disk supposedly being twice the size of a star, this is never actually stated by anyone in the series, and is an assumption that Death Battle and their fans just accept without any need of proof. Therefore, when you do even a bit of surface level research and actually take a minute to think about things, you'd realize that it would take considerably more resources and effort to produce a solar disk twice the size of the sun, as opposed to building one that is massively bigger than the moon, which can already somewhat block the majority of the sun's light during the solar eclipse. This means it's far more likely that the solar disk was the size of a small planet than it is that the Galactic Federation built this shit to be bigger.
Okay. Planetary Invincible is fine. You could argue it's downplay. I have no stakes in it. I scale mainly this show for Invincible. Although, if you want to do like Dragon Ball characters versus Invincible, I usually default to the comics just to make it more even.
Than a star. On top of that, it's far more in line scaling-wise, considering Viltrumites are easily through feats like Omni-Man Steady or the size of Texas, as well as 3 Viltrumites plus Space Racer being able to destroy planet Viltrum.
Damn, okay, fair enough.
Giving Mark a clear small planet level ceiling in terms of strength, especially
I wouldn't say ceiling, but, you know, Mark is small planetary in, like, the show. You know, fair enough.
by the end of the series where he's considered to be the strongest Viltrumite to ever live. Moving on to Mark's speed, though, like with the strength, things are extremely contentious. This is due to the fact that most people think that just because Viltrumites are able to travel galactic distances in short amounts of time, that it automatically means they should be able to move at MFTL speeds whenever they please. The problem with this logic, though, is that it's directly stated in the Invincible.
Oh my god, fuck this fucking statement. This fucking statement so How did I get an ad? Maybe because you don't have... maybe because... Whatever. Yeah, like season 3 Invincible should have like he should be at least like 32 times faster than light, small planetary, which by the way, actually a video coming out on that soon, very soon, maybe today even, so, you know, keep an eye out for that. But at the same time, you know, like let's be realistic here. Mark does not cap at small planetary. I think even most Invincible down players in the community, like Goji Chronic, like even Goji gave normal Viltrumites planetary in his Saiyans versus Viltrumites video, I'm pretty sure. So, like, let's not say that the strongest Viltrumite sits at small planetary.
Handbook that the main reason Viltrumites are able to fly this fast is due to the fact that their smart atoms essentially allow for subspace teleportation, thereby enabling Viltrumite.
Yeah, this is a fucking stupid scan. I actually remember looking into the Invincible handbook, the Invincible guidebook, for this statement, and it wasn't even written by the creators of the show. It was written by some guy that they got to work on the book, who wrote like a bunch of other shit things.
It's to bypass covering actual distance. To put this more simply, while it's arguable that Mark and other Viltrumites can in fact cover the same distance as MFTL starships, it doesn't automatically mean they can fight at these speeds. Since, as I've already explained with Luffy's reaction speed, combat and flight speed are completely separate and cannot directly scale to one another without actual evidence or reasoning. Also, before anyone tries to bring up calc stacking metas based off statements of Alan having comparable reactions.
Yeah, like, Alan literally can do the thing that he is describing, and, like, the fuck?
Reactions to the speeds he attains during flight. I would again like to point out the fact that these characters are basically teleporting and not actually moving at MFTL speeds. And
not teleporting. Go whatever. What do you mean, wait, really? Have you seen Chuck's latest video on Viltrumites versus Saiyans? I have not. I felt kind of bad about that, actually, because I saw it only had like 10k views, and I was like, damn, well, you know, like, Chuck used to be like one of the cornerstones of the power scaling community. He deserves to get more views than some of the other guys out there.
And even if they were, their reactions are only enhanced during flight and automatically adjust back to normal when characters aren't flying, completely dispelling the notion that any character in Invincible is able to fight beyond the speed of light, which is basically stated to be the actual speed cap of the series.
He is capable of attaining near light. Who is this guy? Who is this guy? Reaching such speeds near planetary objects could cause irreparable harm to them. What is this? Who cares? Everyone loves pulling out the fucking Invincible guidebook because these are fucking gooners. Like, no. I said I'd be nice. Where do I scale Goku for speed? Immeasurable speed. Definitely. Wasn't it a whole group? A whole group of what? A whole group of your mom? Are you British? No, sorry. Unremarkable doesn't talk to anyone who's British. The only pounds are me. The only pounds I need are me pounding your mom. His conclusions are that unironically, when in some specific battle conditions, he got them to be comparable to Saiyan somehow. What do you mean somehow? That's just something you can do. Like, especially with someone like Chuck. Like, Chuck is a little more conservative than, I don't know, like, Drip Sauce. Get Invincible characters to straight up planetary. Okay, you'll have to talk to my contact on Discord. He's the one that's got everything, but yeah.
With this being pretty consistent with speed feats like Mark being able to tackle Alan and
Jiren versus Broly? Man, fuck Jiren versus Broly. That shit's fucking gay. No. I shouldn't have said that, but whatever. We'll roll with it. Jiren versus Broly is my biggest fucking headache in terms of Dragon Ball inverse scaling, because what the fuck were they thinking with this shit? Why is there evidence for both of them being, like, the stronger of the two? Every single time, it's like, well, have you this one scan from fucking Xenoverse? Oh, well, this other scan from the fucking back of a toy box. Fucking, oh, but this one from the Toei website. Oh, but this one from the fucking manga. Oh, but this one from the fucking, like, fuck. This one from fucking Dragon Ball Cardass. Like, there's so much evidence, and all of it conflicts with each other. My honest opinion is that they're even in terms of power. Jiren wins. Because fighting ability, but like this shit gets so stupid sometimes.
to the moon, as well as Omni-Man casually accelerating and wiping the surface of the Flaxen homeworld, giving Mark relativistic to near light speed.
The group that is different from who wrote the yeah, the series creators did actually write some of the stuff for the guidebooks. But then you got other random people that just write whatever they want, and like I don't know if any of this was even fact checked. Jiren power scaling is only BS if you goon Dragon Ball. Like in the anime, you know, it's like the anime is actually very consistent about it. Jiren is stronger than the Gods of Destruction. Anyone who's stronger than Jiren is stronger than the Gods of Destruction. It's pretty simple. The manga is where all of this gets fucked horrendously. Because even Black Frieza currently is weaker than Beerus. And then Jiren is stronger than Beerus, according to, like, everyone, dog. You got, like, Akira Toriyama. The concept of Jiren as a character from Akira Toriyama was someone that was stronger than the Gods of Destruction. And you'll find that in the manga, this is actually a good place to find what I'm talking about. In the manga, Jiren relies on the same moves a lot. Yeah, like this one-handed three-punch spam that he does this so many times. Or like the block spam with forearms. Like, Jiren spams the same moves repeatedly. Backhand punch versus blue level, yeah, like, and like it's effective, but this is kind of why Goku was able to react to Jiren despite not even being close to Jiren's level. Okay, he's stronger than time stops. You mean kind of like a okay.
Reactions and combat speed. With speed out of the way, though, we can go ahead and segue into abilities, which are few and far between when it comes to Invincible. This is because Bro basically has zero notable combat applicative abilities, aside from super strength, flight, and the ability to survive in space without oxygen for an extended period of time. Plus, if you really want to mention it, he also has the super niche trait of being able to survive otherwise fatal wounds, which could be
this is okay. Let's
theoretically help Mark clutch a win against opponents with similar stats. Now that
okay, that's actually a concept called survivability. Have you ever wondered why Frieza can just survive, like, getting cut in half? It's because he has a really good survivability stat. That's kind of where that comes from. But yeah.
Mark and Luffy have been scaled in their entire